it's sunny down in Mexico. The sun gets high when I get low. The only way to get there is to let yourself go. Good times are made in Mexico.
Hi, Darcy. Welcome back to reality. You just got married. I'm wondering if you could just give us a little intro into who you are, who you married, when the wedding was, where the wedding was. Give me all of those details, and then we'll go from there.
Okay. My name is Darcy Nierenstein. It's getting changed to Darcy Robertson. Still trying to figure out if I'm going to keep my last name or my middle name, because Darcy Nierenstein Robertson, that is a mouthful. So I'm born and raised in North Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. My fiance, or now husband, I keep calling him my fiance. My
Hard to get rid of
husband
that.
is States Robertson. He is from Columbia, South Carolina.
First of all, I'm like, I've never heard of anybody in my life named States.
Yes.
Yeah, me either.
He gets that a lot. He's a very friendly person. Immediately makes friends because everyone tells him, oh, I've never heard this name before. It was his grandfather's name. I don't know if he ever even met his grandfather that was named States. But it was his grandfather's name. No one was named States prior to his grandpa. Everyone stops him and is like, that is such a cool name. There's no way that's your name. And it's like, yep, that is his name. We went to college together. So we met in college. It was actually one of those things we did kind of talk for a little bit. I brought him to a sorority function because I thought he was cute. It was our freshman year. And then he started getting a little bit too serious for us to be in our first semester of freshman year. And so I just like completely stopped talking to him. I was like, we just started college. I'm not trying to date somebody right off the bat. And so then he proceeded to kind of hate me the rest of college. After our first semester of freshman year, we did not talk at all the rest of college.
Aww.
You broke his heart.
And we went to a small private school for college. There was less than 1,000 people at this college. So we saw each other pretty much every day. If I would look at him, it would be like, we reconnected after college. We were both living in Charleston, South Carolina. And I don't know, we were friends on Instagram and friends on Facebook. And my birthday is right around Christmas, and he sends me a happy birthday text. And I was like, oh, this is so weird. And so then we end up talking, and then he asked me what I was doing for New Year's. I told him what me and my friends were doing. He was like, oh, crazy. Me and my friends are doing the same thing. Little did I know they did not have those plans, but he was like, well, now we're going to do that. And so then we reconnected for the first time on New Year's Eve, and we were talking, and then it's like 11:50, and he's like, I'll be right back. I never saw him again the rest of the night. So he got me back, I guess. And then a few days later, he texted me and we asked me out on a date. So that was how we started. That was in, I guess that was New Year's Eve, 2018, going into 2019.
And that was a great story. And sounds like you've been together for a while. So what made you consider a destination wedding once you got engaged?
So now that we are working adults, we both went to grad school, so we took a while to get into the real world. So we've really both only been working for about like 2.5 years now. And so since we have became actual adults, not adults in school anymore, we realized we're like, once you're adult, it is hard to have money and keep money and save money and all that. We both felt so guilty asking our parents for any financial help for our weddings. I've had a ton of friends get married. My sister got married in 2018. And I know how much her local wedding cost in 2018. And I feel like the wedding industry has just gotten insane since 2018. And so I was like, okay, well, kind of what she spent then is what I would want to pay for a wedding is. And I have friends who got married recently and their weddings were, like 4 times that amount. And so I'm like, I'm not trying to go into debt for a wedding, and I don't want to put my parents or his parents in a financial situation where they feel obligated to help us out. And so we were like, we want to have a wedding that we can pay for ourselves. And like I mentioned earlier, my husband is very, very outgoing, friendly. Everyone he meets is now his best friend. We were talking about who he wanted to invite. Everyone he's ever talked to in his life was getting an invite. And I'm like, we can't invite this person. I've only met them one time. We've been together since 2019. The fact that I've only met them once or I haven't met them at all, like, that just feels weird. And he's like, well, I don't want to hurt anyone's feelings. And I'm like, I don't care if their feelings are hurt. We were talking about it, and the numbers would be anywhere from like 200 to 300 people that were going to get invited if we did it in South Carolina. Because he's like, if we're having it here, I want to invite everyone. And I'm like, who is paying for all of these people? And so then I was the one who had mentioned, well, what do you think about a destination wedding? Because if we did that, you're already limited to a certain amount of people. And you can use the excuse like, we are going out of the country. We are just keeping it to our family and then our very close friends. We just started doing more research from that.
How did you connect with us? How did you hear about Be All Inclusive?
Give me a task and I will fully take on this task. And so as soon as we had discussed doing a destination wedding, I immediately go to Facebook and I'm joining all of these destination wedding Facebook groups. I had already kind of thought about doing Mexico just because, I'd heard that Jamaica was the most expensive, and then I've been to Dominican before and I've been to Mexico before, but I liked where I was in Mexico better than the Dominican Republic. And so I joined a lot of Mexico destination groups. And then from there, little search bar at the top, once you're in those groups, started typing in travel agent, wedding coordinator, stuff like that. And so y'all were frequently mentioned in those Facebook posts. And yep. And so I reached out to a few different people. I spoke with you, James, on a call, and then like one other travel agent destination wedding group. And from there, after our conversation, just States and I discussed like both, and we loved the other group as well. It wasn't like anything was wrong with it, but we just felt a better connection with y'all.
How did you know how to join Facebook groups in the first place on your own? Because I feel like that's something we typically recommend to people to join.
Whatever question I have, like locally, there's multiple Facebook groups within the North Myrtle Beach area. Food recommendations, anything, I go to those Facebook groups because people post everything more that you don't even ask for on Facebook. I went on Pinterest and looked at Pinterest stuff too about it. And people were saying the best way to find information is becoming part of these groups. I think I was a part of like 10 different.
Oh, that's a lot of groups. What drew you to El Dorado Royale? Because it sounds like you did some thorough research, so I'm sure you looked at a ton of resorts. What was it about El Dorado Royale that made you pick it?
So prior to even James, once we spoke to him and he kind of gave us a list of places, I had already had my own list based off of all these different groups. My notes app in my phone is very chaotic to anyone who is to look at it, but to me it is super organized. And so in my notes app, I had all these resorts that were more commonly recommended resorts, and I had already added myself into each of the destination wedding Facebook groups for them and was just like reading a bunch of different comments on it. And so then once we kind of talked to James, we had talked to him about what we wanted our budget to be for our guests. That was, I feel like, one of our main concerns is like, we're asking people to travel abroad. We obviously want to stay at a nice resort, but we don't want it to be an extensive amount of money for like a night stay. And so that was the main thing. And then it was like, okay, we want to make sure that we're having good food and good drinks. I've been to some resorts and you're drinking the drinks and you're like, is there even alcohol in this?
Mm-hmm.
Or, and that there's been food and you're just like, well, it was food, wasn't anything crazy, but it was fine. And then also having activities. I feel like our group, I mean, they're very self-sufficient if there is a swim up bar, but we also like to kind of do stuff. That narrowed it down to like 3 maybe groups. And then just based off of people's reactions on how the resorts responded to them, organization-wise, that was kind of how we chose El Dorado Royale.
What were your non-negotiables? Obviously, budget. We know budget was a key priority. We discussed that. But were there any other non-negotiables in the resort?
We wanted to make sure that there was plenty of things for our guests to do, including nightlife. And so whenever we had talked to James about it, you were like, well, do you want to go to kind of like a party resort? And we were like, oh, that could be fun. And then we were thinking about it, and we were like, ooh, that might not be the vibe that we want. If you don't want to party, you don't have to. And if you do, there's options for you. All of our friends, we just love good music, hanging around, and also just dancing in a small group. Just give us a bar, give us some good music, and we are fine. We don't need the legit club. There's some resorts that have the clubs. We don't really need that. We just need a bar, drinks, good music, and each other. We wanted to have shows. If people wanted to watch shows, we wanted to have restaurant options. El Dorado Royale, it's not really a big you swim in the ocean place. If you want to swim in the ocean, there are certain spots where you can, but it is like a very clean beach, and it could be just like the time of the year that we went. I've been to resorts and the water is not blue. Like even though you're in Mexico or Dominican Republic, the water is not blue water. El Dorado Royale, like you look out there and you're like, oh wow, this water is blue. We also wanted that. Also having space. You don't want to feel like you're too crazy. Sometimes you're just not in the mood. You're like, I need some quiet, nonverbal time. And then once I want to join the group, I want to be able to. And El Dorado Royale gives you that option. There's so many different pools there, hidden away spots. It's not like we had anything that was like this would completely turn us away. But there were a lot of things that we were like, we would prefer like a strong preference.
Did you go to Maroma at all? Did you go to the Maroma Adventures and do the catamaran or anything like that?
So we did a catamaran, but we didn't do it through a resort. Another thing that I found through the Facebook group, found a catamaran group.
Darcy, I know you arrived earlier than a lot of the guests, and so I guess when you first arrived for wedding week, at what point did it really sink in? Everything felt real, like you're actually doing this.
As soon as we landed and we had that little nice limo pickup, I think from that point on, we were like, okay, this is it. And then we get to the resort and we did our romantic candlelit dinner at the beach on Sunday night before anyone got there. And so honestly, like as soon as we got there, I think the States and I just kept saying, oh my gosh, I can't believe it's finally here. I can't believe it's finally here. This was States' parents' first time traveling out of the country. And so they had to get their passports for this specifically. So that was pretty cool. But our guests, I think they all loved the resort. Everyone was like, it felt like we were on like a college campus because you would go someplace with maybe like 3 people and then you would somehow run into more people that were with the group there. It was kind of cool in that aspect. People really liked that. It was very spread out, but it was also an enclosed, safe place. People love that swim up bar. People raved over the drinks, raved over the staff, just like how funny the staff is as well. Martini Bar and the Guacamole. Those 2 places were everyone's favorite. And then like just hanging out at the main pool too. Our group, I feel like everyone who came into the lobby, they're like, "Ooh, this is nice."
Outside of El Dorado, for brides that are kind of starting the planning process, what would you say or what advice would you give that would help like keep someone sane and confident going through the entire planning?
The wedding Facebook groups. I joined the El Dorado wedding group. You read a wedding recap post. Everyone's detailing everything out. And that kind of puts you at ease. I was worried about XYZ. And then I got there. Either that never even crossed my mind again or it was completely taken care of. Having that Facebook group is amazing because any question that I was thinking of, I would just search it in the search tab in the group. And somebody posted the answer about it in 5 different ways.
How was your overall experience with Be All Inclusive and your guest experience with Be All Inclusive?
I think it was all good. No complaints from what I heard. So I think that everyone they just said that y'all were super responsive to them. I don't think that anyone had any kind of hiccups with it. Our guests, they were like, oh yeah, anytime we emailed them, super fast response.
That's the way we want it. We want our brides to sit back and relax and really, if they do have questions, sometimes it's annoying because they can go to our couples instead of coming to us. And I'm like, that's why we're here. Yeah. We're here to help your guests. So, and to try to take something off of your plate. So I love hearing that your guests were not coming to you. Yeah. And instead we're coming to us for questions. That's what our job is.
I would love to hear your experience with your wedding content creator and how that went.
I had seen through a Facebook post that someone had hired Arturo's little sister as a videographer content creator. Well, I'd already decided that I was using Arturo. And so then I saw that and I was like, oh, that would be kind of cool. My sister also wanted me to reach out to him about doing some be during our rehearsal dinner, because she said that from her wedding, she really wished that there were more pictures from her rehearsal dinner. And so, which like, I feel like they liked our group. We asked Arturo on the Thursday night to just be there for like 2 hours, the tail end hour of our rehearsal dinner and the beginning of our welcome drinks. And I mean, he was there for like 3.5, 4 hours. And I was like,
Oh,
you don't have to be here anymore. But I'm like, I felt like he was enjoying us. It was great. And so then whenever I reached out to him about that, I was like, and I also have seen on Facebook that someone mentioned that your sister did like a little content creation video. Is she available for that? It was so worth it. Before they left, he was like, all right, turn on your airdrop. And every single video that she took that night, she airdropped it to me before they left from the wedding.
that's
So yeah, I already have all of her videos on my phone. And I mean, she was everywhere. The next day, my friends are coming up to me and they were like, man, like we're over there shaking it. And then we see that video and we're like, this is don't video this. But it's awesome to have all of the video, the snippets. It's not like we're really always like looking at her. We're looking at the camera. And so it's kind of just like what an outsider's take would be of it. I'm so glad that we have those videos.
Yes.
I feel like it just captures it through a different lens.
I loved watching her post the content, and my favorite one was when you guys were walking out from the aisle and you guys like cheers and giggled and were walking away, and I was like, you just don't get that from a photo.
Yeah.
And it was so cute.
Oh, thank you.
She was actively taking them on her phone, right?
Yep.
So
She might have had two. I think she might have had a phone and a camera.
people react differently to a phone than a camera
Yeah.
being shoved in their face.
Yeah, absolutely.
And even though it's still a camera, right? You know what I mean? You can get away with a little bit more, sleuthy stealthness
Yes.
with a cell phone than you can with, than Arturo's camera.
Yes.
Right?
Exactly.
We want to switch things up a little bit and play a game called Quickfire Confessions, basically word association. Okay? So here's how it works. I'm going to throw a bunch of rapid fire prompts to you, and you're going to answer with the first word or phrase that pops into your head, period. Right? So no overthinking it, just gut reactions, all right? To make it a little bit more interesting, we are going to time this at 45 seconds because we like to gamify everything. So, Julia, I need you to get your phone out
All right.
and set the timer to 45 seconds. Your first thought stepping onto the resort.
Beautiful.
First thing you smelled at El Dorado Royale.
Probably an espresso martini. I guess that's more than one word, but we went and had espresso martinis.
It could be more than one word. The first drink you ordered.
Espresso martini.
Wedding morning vibe.
Excited.
Feeling you had walking down the aisle.
Joyful, I guess.
The guest who needed the most supervision.
States' family, just as a whole.
The guest that was most likely to get lost at the resort.
Like States' parents.
The weirdest thing you saw all week.
The animals running around.
The most dangerous drink at the wedding.
Just shots.
The craziest dance move you saw.
There was like a little dance train with like States' family and some of our friends. It was weird. I think it was captured by Arturo. So,
How long did you last at the after party?
until like maybe like midnight. I had a hot dog and then I dipped.
Your groom's energy level leaving the reception.
At that point he was kind of drunk.
The very first words out of your mouth once you got back to your room on wedding night.
Maybe like my feet hurt.
The most overrated part of the wedding week.
I guess in hindsight, if you just think about it, you're like, why was I stressed? Why was I stressed?
And the most underrated part of the wedding week.
I never like thought about, man, this might be the one and only time that all of these people are going to be together. I feel like I didn't hype that up enough. Like all of these people, they'll never probably be in the spot together again.
The biggest misconception you had about destination weddings before working with BAI.
Stress.
One word, how BAI made you feel for your wedding week.
At ease.
That was awesome. I really appreciate you taking the time to hop on and
course.
chat with us a little bit about your wedding week. I think it was really cool. It's one of my favorite resorts. I wish I got to meet you in person when we were there, but it just didn't work out. We were right before we left. But I was super jealous, and looking at the content, it looks like it was awesome.
It was everything we could have hoped for and more. And yeah, I appreciate all of y'all's help in the process too.
Perfect. All right. Well, thank you so much, and have a great Thanksgiving.
Thank you, y'all too.
Sunny down in